Have you ever had to guess the identity of a substance? Besides smelling, touching, and looking at the physical appearance of a substance, there are other ways to know for sure what that substance is. This is where chemical properties come in. A chemical property is a property of a substance that is observed when a substance undergoes a chemical change. A chemical change is a type of change that also changes the identity of a substance due to the breakage and formation of new chemical bonds. This can be seen here, where two substances, A and B, form and break bonds with each other and to other substances, shown as C and D. Chemical changes and the chemical properties they can produce are directly linked to the physical properties of a substance. Some common physical properties are odor, density, melting point, and boiling point, while some common chemical properties are heat of combustion, enthalpy of formation, toxicity, and flammability, each of which will be covered in this lesson. Investigating and observing different substances on Earth is essential to utilizing substances efficiently and safely. Imagine a movie where scientists and researchers are called in when a foreign substance is discovered. The substance is treated with caution, and different tests are performed to know exactly what it is and what it can do. Part of this process will be discovering the chemical properties of the substance. Some of the more common chemical properties include heat of combustion. A combustion reaction involves oxygen and releases energy as heat. The heat that is released is what we refer to as the heat of combustion. When undergoing a combustion reaction with oxygen, different materials have different heats of combustion associated with them. When an organic substance undergoes a combustion reaction with oxygen, it produces carbon dioxide, water, and thus emits heat. A common example of the combustion of methane, CH4, with oxygen is seen here. Not only organic compounds undergo combustion, metals also undergo combustion, such as magnesium metal, which reacts with oxygen to produce magnesium oxide, and is written out like this. When a substance is formed from standard elements, heat is either released or absorbed. The heat associated with this is what we call the standard enthalpy of formation. This is an important characteristic because it tells us about the stability of the compound, as well as its reactivity with other compounds. Each element in its standard form is under the following conditions: at a pressure of 1 atmosphere and a temperature of 298.15 K. This table shows some standard enthalpies of a few different compounds. Toxicity is a very important chemical property because it tells us about the harm a substance can bring to other organisms. Some common toxic substances are mercury and various types of acids. This also includes household products, such as those containing ammonia. In a chemistry lab, different bottles of chemicals that are highly toxic have the symbol of a skull and crossbones to it. By determining the toxicity of a substance, we can know if it is a chemical toxicant, those that can poison you, a biological toxicant, those that can bring you disease, or a physical toxicant, those that can cause damage to your body by being inhaled, and take the appropriate steps to use and store it safely. Everyone knows not to throw alcohol on an open flame when trying to put out a fire. This is because we all know that alcohol is incredibly flammable. Flammability is the measure of how easily something burns. This is a very important chemical property because this can tell the proper way of using and storing a substance. However, you can't tell what the flammability of a substance is just by looking at it. This is something we have to test. Burning a substance changes its identity, so this is most definitely a chemical property. A chemical property is a property of a substance that is observed when a substance undergoes a chemical change. A chemical change is a type of change that also changes the identity of a substance due to the breakage and formation of new chemical bonds. Chemical properties help in identifying and characterizing different substances. Some examples of chemical changes that we commonly encounter are the burning of wood, the spoiling of food, and the ripening of fruits. Some chemical properties produced by such chemical changes include the heat of combustion, or the heat released through a combustion reaction, enthalpy of formation, or the heat either released or absorbed during the formation of standard elements, toxicity, or the toxic and/or poisonous attributes of a substance, and flammability, which refers to whether or not a substance will burn. Each of these properties is very important in the classification of different substances, and in helping people to take the necessary precautions when handling different chemical substances.